Because Rolling Stone wrote an article about Nicki Minaj spreading misleading information at the United Nations. Nicki Minaj spoke at the United Nations about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. And we've talked about that on stream as well, how like priests are getting spirited away, priests are getting murdered, Christians in general are facing being murdered for their beliefs in Nigeria. Faith is under attack, and Nicki Minaj spreads misleading information at the United Nations. Much like everyone wanted to say that the Boer Farm massacres were a far-right talking point, I'm sure this is another concept of, if we tell you it's not happening, you should believe us, don't believe your lying eyes. Nicki's claims of extremism against Nigerian Christians, like Trump's, aren't backed by any data. Nicki Minaj spoke at the United Nations headquarters today, calling out what she perceives as extremism against Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria. Is it gonna take like Trump inviting someone from Nigeria to the White House and showing them a video of mass graves like he had to do with fucking South Africa? Like what are we even doing here? She said, also asserting in her 4-minute speech that today, faith is under attack in way too many places in Nigeria. Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned, families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Before Minaj's speech, UN Ambassador Mike Waltz echoed the notion of persecution against Christians before thanking Nicki for taking the UN podium to demand action for Christians. Minaj's speech prefaced a panel discussion entitled Combating Religious Violence and the Killing of Christians in Nigeria. Time reporter Eric Cordelesa previously broke news of the speech, revealing that President Donald Trump's advisor, Alex Brushewitz, facilitated Minaj's appearance. The speech comes weeks after she made an X post lauding a Trump Truth Social post that claimed that Christianity was under an existential threat in Nigeria. Elsewhere, in November, she shared a pro-MAGA clip posted by the White House's X account, which was soundtracked by her Bees in the Trap hit song. I've not heard that one. As well as a xenophobic, transphobic video highlighting Trump's accomplishments since the beginning of his second term, which resulted in her losing over 100,000 followers. I have not seen that video.
For prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I would like to thank President...
Well, this doesn't have what they're claiming is fucking transphobic or whatever. Maybe it's this one? That's funny. That's funny. They even included like the little fucking Trump wiggle dance to it. Oh my god. That's great. I still don't know what is supposed to be xenophobic or transphobic, but you know, like, whatever, Rolling Stone. Trump has asserted that Christians have been persecuted and murdered by radical Islamists and has threatened to invade Nigeria, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Why not just take a book out of Obama's page, you know, and just use drones? On September 11th, Texas Senator Ted Cruz introduced a bill against persecution of Nigerian Christians, but the nonpartisan US-based organization Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project and Council on Foreign Relations have repeatedly stated that the notion of Christians being disproportionately attacked is a dangerous reduction of the nature of violence in Nigeria that isn't backed by data. Nigerian citizens support their sentiment. In an Al Jazeera op-ed, the senior special assistant to the president of Nigeria, Gimba Kakanda, stated, "Every region of Nigeria has both Christians and Muslims living side by side, and conflicts typically unfold along community or regional lines rather than strictly religious ones." You know, our politicians in the United States, if we wanted to gauge a scale of lying, right, I would say our politicians lie probably about 90 to 92% of the time. African politicians are probably lying even more than that. Like, there's a reason it's just a black hole of foreign aid, and everyone in a position of power there enriches themselves while everyone around them continues to live in abject poverty and dire conditions. Bulama Bukardi, a Nigerian conflict researcher and human rights lawyer, told ABC News that the violence is indiscriminate in a report where an imam stated, "The kind of pain we've gone through for the past years, this issue affects both faiths." Nigeria's population of 220 million people is mostly split between Christians and Muslims. Still, Minaj, like Trump and his conservative comrades, is projecting a misconception that Christians in particular are being assailed in Nigeria. This is about standing up in the face of injustice, she said during her speech. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for the rest of my life. I will care if anyone anywhere is being persecuted for their beliefs. And that's true. You should care. You should care if people are being indiscriminately slaughtered. But I'm absolutely not going to believe what African politicians say about what is or isn't happening in their nations when it comes to widespread murder. Because once again, we've seen in Rhodesia, nobody bothered to do anything. We see in South Africa, how many years were we told that the Boer farm murders were just right-wing conspiracy theories and not actually happening, despite the video coming out of South Africa, despite the people in South Africa begging for help, despite me personally knowing South Africans who genuinely cried when Trump acknowledged it, because it was the first time a large nation had any acknowledgement. When the Boers were offered asylum and both Canada and the United States declined them, and the only one to accept them was Russia. Like, are you kidding me? You want me to believe this? You want me to believe this, Rolling Stone? Go fuck yourself. But Kirsche, don't you know Trump ambushed the South African president, that it means it's fake? Oh yeah, I'm sure someone would clip this and say that I'm spreading the fucking conspiracy further, but it's like, it was literally shown in a video on the White House. Trump put the fucking South African president, prime minister, whatever the fuck he's called there, on the spot, and was like, yeah, you want to say these aren't happening? How about all these fucking unmarked graves? How about that? I guess they weren't unmarked, they had crosses. There was like a million fucking crosses on the side of the road, but they weren't in a cemetery. SGT, thank you for the 5. Yesterday, a Catholic school was raided and mostly girls 12 to 17 were abducted. Now you're just imagining things. That was clearly just a dream that you had. It's fine, see, there are also indiscriminate victims that are caught in the crossfire while committing totally not genocide. Sure, man, cope all you want. And then Ambassador Mike Waltz here said, Rolling Stone must immediately retract their egregious headline. Mere hours after Nicki Minaj boldly addressed the UN yesterday on this very crisis, 2 innocent Christians were brutally murdered in yet another heinous terrorist attack in Nigeria. This is after 25 schoolgirls were kidnapped just days before. The persecution of Christians in Nigeria is an undeniable and escalating horror, and it's utterly reprehensible that the mainstream media persists in downplaying and dismissing this atrocity. I'm grateful for Nicki's courage in I'm grateful for Nicki's courage in lending her powerful voice to the voiceless on a global stage. The Trump administration remains steadfast in its commitment to defending religious freedom for Christians everywhere. This barbaric violence must end now. And he posts a headline, quote, retweeting the Rolling Stone shit rag that we just read, saying, 2 killed in church attack in Nigeria days after dozens of schoolgirls have been abducted. Little fucking crazy just how blatantly they lie and expect you to believe them. Remember how people in the media said, we tell you what to believe? Yeah, they genuinely believe that. That wasn't even rhetoric, man. Kind of fucking wild. But people were really upset that this health inspector was pouring bleach on a taco food stand in an extreme takedown of alleged rogue vendor. And it's really weird to me that the same people who want all of these crazy standards of everywhere needs to have gluten-free options and everywhere needs to have all of these special menu items and all of these weird food standards. But when it comes to just basic health and sanitary conditions, you can't, that's their culture, you can't expect that. But their food is so yummy, meme, unironically. Enjoy your fucking worms, brother. It's a recipe for controversy. Health officials in Denver are under fire after 2 inspectors were caught in a controversial viral video pouring bleach into the food at a local taco stand on Saturday. The footage, which began making the rounds online over the weekend, shows 2 inspectors from the Denver Department of Public Health and Environment unloading a giant jug of bleach into vats of food at the taco Colorado stand. The clip caused quite a stir, but health officials in the Colorado city said the extreme measure was necessary after the food stand vendor ignored repeated public health citations. Because we have been unable to achieve compliance, our enforcement actions have escalated to confiscating and safely disposing of food products that pose a potential health risk, Health Department spokesperson Amber Campbell said in an email to the Post. In previous encounters, the vendor had quickly packed up and relocated before food could be safely discarded. At the most recent inspection, when our investigators arrived, employees began packing the contaminated food into a locked truck. Given the vendor's interference, lack of an on-site dumpster, and the amount of contaminated food, bleach was used as a quick and immediate response to ensure food could not be packed, stored, and resold, Campbell said, adding that the tainted food was then removed. Another rare-based Karen. Bleach that, yeah, the bleach was totally fucking called for, and I don't understand why people are angry. It's so dumb. She said the food vendor, identified by CUSA as Garcia Barrientos, has blown off repeated warnings about unsafe and potentially dangerous food. And he said he did not have a license to do business. Yeah, if I want to eat pizza out of my own car trunk, that's my prerogative. I don't want someone to sell me car trunk pizza. That's kind of fucked up. You're just more confused why a government health inspector's only recourse when ignored is to just break out the bleach and go mafia style on them instead of, you know, arresting them or having cops present. Can we do both? Can we bleach all of their nasty ass food that they've had sitting out there at egregious temperatures that could get people sick and then also arrest them? Can we do both? I would like to do both.
Both is good.
Mans doesn't even have a license. The whole fucking thing is illegal. Why isn't he being arrested? Where is the arrest? The department also said using a substance like bleach to ensure potentially unsafe food is not sold is not uncommon among health inspectors in the US. You could still give the food to the illegals? No! They want to kill them, deport them, man. That's crazy. However, Barrientos told the outlet that he had no idea who the inspectors were because they weren't wearing badges or flashed IDs. Claimed the city never told him about prior violations. Yeah, I just don't believe you. I just don't believe you. The inspectors appear to be wearing badges in the images posted online. Literally not even smart enough to lie. Campbell disagreed and said the food peddler had even moved to different locations to dodge fines for a slew of violations, including for unsafe food storage and unlicensed operation. Allowing unlicensed vendors to operate not only presents a health and safety risk, but it also undermines the many small businesses in Denver that have invested time and money to operate legally and safely. We've heard from licensed vendors who are concerned about the unfair competition and the impact on their livelihoods. This reminds me of that fucking dumb bitch in, I think it was California, who like went and asked for donations on her TikTok or whatever to buy out all of the goods at all of the illegal vendors so that they could help their families. And it's just like, damn, you're retarded. Exactly, people are going to think every food truck pulls this shit. I certainly would hope not, but yeah, if they're allowed to operate, yeah, people would be like, I don't know if I want to eat at food trucks. It's me, I'm those people. I already am incredibly suspicious of food trucks. We have a ex-GOP aide paid fetish artist to mutilate her, claimed it was an anti-Trump attack, according to court documents. What does he mean by paid fetish artist to mutilate her? That doesn't exactly sound consensual. I'm very confused here. Of course, this is in New Jersey, the capital of incest of the United States, by the way. That's Alabama. That's wrong. We learned together on stream that New Jersey has higher rates of incest and inbreeding than Alabama does. A former New Jersey GOP aide allegedly paid a fetish artist to carve dozens of cuts into her skin and had a pal scrawl "Trump whore" on her stomach in order to claim that she was the victim of a politically motivated violent attack, according to shocking new court documents. That's crazy. That's an insane fucking thing to do. And I cannot believe she was like, yeah, bro, just pay me money for it. What kind of mental state do you have to be in to, one, accept this, and two, be the guy to perpetrate it? Fucking holy shit. We genuinely have three parties at this point. We have the GOP that's fucked, we have the Democrats that's fucked, and we have MAGA at this point that's semi-fucked. Natalie Green, 26, was arrested Wednesday and charged with concocting the violent bogus ambush at Egg Harbor Township Nature Reserve on July 23rd. Oh, wait. Bogus ambush? Literally Juicy Smollett? Prosecutors said the accused fraudster claimed 3 gun-wielding men approached her and a friend on the trail around 10:30 p.m. before threatening to shoot her and hitting her in the head. What the fuck was the reasoning that she used that men would even do this unless it was just like a run-of-the-mill robbery? Like, what? How would this be a fucking Trump attack? That doesn't make any fucking sense. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? Okay, I'm confused, but I think I'm putting some pieces together. It was a female GOP aide that did this?
Yes. I
was assuming from reading the title, right? I don't know. I thought the GOP aide was like involved in it, but they're like, they paid the body modification artist $500 to deliberately carve gruesome wounds into her face, neck, back, and shoulders with a scalpel. That's fucking horrific. Even if it's a body modification, like, those are gonna leave scars. Why would you do this? What kind of, like, mental instability leads you to do such a thing? And it, like, she had the body modification artist, like, mutilate her and not, like, some other random person? So now she's going to have these scars of, I'm a fucking disgusting liar for the rest of her life? I'm glad she didn't harm another person, but like, what the fuck was the goal here? This is why you don't put women in positions of power. What the fuck am I reading? What the fuck am I reading? Is she single? Shut the fuck up, Brother Goose. Don't share your oats with this thing. Doping in the victim. I am, what the fuck? I think we're so used to like Trump derangement syndrome being a purely leftist phenomena that like people in the GOP being just as fucking downright insane batshit crazy just hasn't come up as many times as you would think. You can't fix her, bro. Do not try and fix this. She's beyond fixing.
Can we fix it?
No, we can't.
The suspect said the fictitious attackers hog-tied her with black zip ties. It always comes back to fetish posting, man. Held her down while slashing her face and body and etched anti-Trump slurs onto her stomach and back because she worked for a Republican, the complaint said. What the fuck is wrong with her? Why would anyone believe this? This is so fucking stupid. She's the Sistine Chapel of crazy. Green, a Maserati-driving Rutgers law student, worked for U.S. Rep. Jeff Van Drew, R. New Jersey, the Globe reported. Can you explain to me how a GOP aide afforded a Maserati? What is the pay here? What is happening? What is going on? Parents? I mean, maybe. Local residents in Green's hometown were horrified when they heard about the story. At the end of the day, we're talking about a 25-year-old girl. You can call her a woman. It's okay. 25 is actually a woman. She's not a minor. A beautiful girl whose politics aren't supposed to reach that level of extreme. Fiona Tierney, 49, told the Post. Now she's going to spend the rest of her life with these scars to remind her of what she did. What? She's going to the beach wearing a bathing suit with all of that on display. She'd never live this down. What kind of future is that? Thank you. Somebody else repeated what I said. What the fuck? Green's lawyer, Luis M. Barone, said his client is innocent until proven guilty, and that she was serving her community working for Van Drew's office while also going to school at the time of the alleged hoax attack. I just think that people who lie about shit like this should have actual repercussions. Like, the lies being embedded on her body for the rest of her life aren't enough. There should be, like, legal repercussions. Because, like, God forbid they found 3 men who happened to be in the area at the time that she claimed this happened. Imagine them being dragged through legal proceedings for this shit, right? Like, come the fuck on. She sounds like the type of crazy that would get off on others seeing the scars. I mean, maybe, but it's just like, you don't have, like, victim currency, I think, is incredibly bullshit, and it pushes people who are in fucking sane to do this kind of deranged bullshit in order to get more attention and pity and just random bullshit from people. Like, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't want to be a victim. If you are happy when you get attacked because you can use it for some kind of clout, there's something fucking wrong with you. 2 days before the alleged phony assault, Green drove to Pennsylvania and paid a body modification artist she found on Instagram $500 to deliberately carve gruesome wounds into her face, neck, chest, back, and shoulders with a scalpel, the court documents alleged. If I was like somebody who was into body modification and I knew that someone participated in like a scam like this, I would no longer want to use them, right? Like, that's crazy. The Ocean City resident allegedly provided the artist with a design she wanted gouged into her flesh. Come on, man. Come on, man. Why are you such a dumb bitch, man? On the day of the alleged staged attack, Green's accomplice frantically called police, claiming she had been singled out by name and violently assaulted, according to the complaint. Officers found the accused con artist in a wooded area just off the trail, hands and feet bound together, her shirt pulled over her head, and the words "Trump whore" and "Van Drew is a racist" scribbled in black marker on her horrifically scarred body as she screamed that one of her attackers had a gun. Horrific photos in the complaint show Green with deep, grisly cuts on her body and face. Prosecutors said Green was taken to a hospital where she and her accomplice gave police conflicting accounts of what happened and provided faulty descriptions of the phantom assailants. Black zip ties and duct tape were also found in Green's Maserati the night of the disturbing alleged scheme. Federal officials said her unidentified sidekick searched "zip ties near me" on their phone 2 days earlier and went to a Ventnor Dollar General to pick them up. You know, I'm glad that at least people who try to fake, like, hate crime shit, I'm glad they're all so fucking dumb. I'm glad that every single one is such a fucking retard. I hate that the majority of people who look at the retards doing fake hate crimes are also retarded enough to believe in them even when they're proven false. But, you know, hands up, don't shoot, brother. Well, Natalie is no longer associated with the congressman's government office. Our thoughts and prayers are with her and hope she's getting the care she needs, Van Drew's office told the outlet. She needs more mental health care than can be provided. She joined the congressman's team part-time in 2022 and later served as his constituent advocate. Green was charged with conspiracy to convey false statements and hoaxes and making false statements to federal law enforcement. Good. Punish these people who commit fake hate crimes. She was arraigned Wednesday in federal court and released on a $200,000 unsecured bond. Green could spend up to a decade behind bars if convicted on both charges. Was it worth it? Was it worth it, you deranged fucking lunatic? Jesus Christ. Democrat and convicted child molester is running for mayor in Rhode Island. I am not shocked at all that a convicted child molester is running for mayor in fucking Providence, Rhode Island. This is probably the least shocking place you could tell me a child molester's running for mayor. Michael English, a Democrat and convicted child molester, is currently running for mayor in Providence, Rhode Island. In 1998, English pleaded no contest to sexually molesting a 13-year-old girl. He served only 15 months of a 20-year sentence before being released. He then spent an additional 19 months in prison in 2009 after violating a no-contact order with the victim. English does not appear on the Rhode Island Sex Offender Registry due to his registry expiring after only 10 years. You know what? I'm sure people in Providence looked at this guy on the ballot and they were like, finally someone with experience who can run our city the way we want it to be run. I am not surprised at all this is happening in fucking Providence, but I'm also incredibly fucking disgusted. Is that better or worse than the Virginia AG guy? I think it's both bad. I don't really want to rank whether having a convicted child molester mayor or an attorney general that wants Republicans murdered. I don't really want to rank which one's better or worse. They're both bad and shouldn't be in positions of power. It's fucking wild, man. That's fucking wild. I don't want to pay for you. I mean, I feel like we got pretty much the story out of this one. I feel like we got the story out of this. He could not be more perfect for Rhode Island. Thank you, fellow masshole, for backing me up. Insert Norm Macdonald. Yeah, insert the Norm Macdonald clip, dude. Come on.
Now, this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should die.
I'm also a bit flummoxed. He sexually molested a 13-year-old girl in 1998, and then 11 years later, he violated a no-contact order with her. Wouldn't she be too old for him at this point? Why did he violate the no contact order? What was even the point? What are you doing? You fucking freak. Sometimes they're just infatuated with the one that got away. That's a wild thing. That's a wild thing, man. Where's that guy who we fucking banned for saying preheating the oven? Like someone in chat was trying to be like, there's no such thing as grooming. It's just preheating the oven, you know? Like, as long as you don't touch them until they're 18, it's fine. And I was like, what, bro? That's a wild thing. Get banned, that guy. Spawn camping. Yeah, like what the fuck? Some people are just crazy. This is when Dr. Disrespect got exposed. Thank you. No, Your Honor, we don't understand. I'm not a pedo, I'm a groomer. This one hell of a legal defense. Oh my God. So Mike Belcher here is another House rep in New Hampshire that I started getting tweets from because I interact with Travis, who is a New Hampshire rep. And he has been posting about some weird shit that has been going on. Says, it looks like in order to avoid the effects of my bill to dissolve health equity and environmental justice in the New Hampshire executive, past committee last week, they've gone and renamed their offices. Why, or what is it called when bureaucracy attempts to avoid just law passed by the people's representatives by playing word games? Don't worry too much, we're working on an amendment to make sure it has proper effect. In the meantime, you can review the open communist infiltration at these websites. On that point, I would like some input from the Justice Department and AG Pam Bondi on DEI and environmental justice. You see, our executive agencies and many activists claimed, and I think they're lying, that state funding is at risk if we stop DEI and environmental justice. I suggest the opposite is true, that it may be at risk if we do not. And I might know a bit more than Mike Belcher on this, simply because, and I'm not a politician like he is, but simply because of my bridge antics. That gives me a better position to be in here. They're claiming that state funding is at risk because of the executive orders saying that anyone doing DEI or DEI by any other name, which again is too vague because communists only know how to play word games, they will get ahead of you every single time if you try to play on even field. If they stop doing it, they're going to lose the state funding because it's required work in order to get the cultural transformation that they want. They don't want to stop doing it, and they're at risk of losing the funds if they stop, if they continue doing it. If they stop, they're going to continue getting state funds because they're no longer going afoul of the law, but they're also no longer doing the work that they want to be doing. The people pushing this are the problem. And it doesn't matter how many bills you introduce to get rid of it, until the people pushing it are moved out of their positions of power, it's going to keep coming back like a diseased plant. And then he posted this quote retweet, so I'll click on this one. Said, plot thickens, very curious who tucked that little provision in the budget, a provision that changed the name but removed 0 of the communist functions of the office, which again is exactly what Bridge has been instructing people to do. They have had CEOs, CFOs, blah, 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 you've heard me say it a million times, come in from other companies. They have lawyers that send out briefs on how places that are receiving federal funding can get around the executive order, can rename things, can continue doing the work, and less people will notice. Thankfully, Mike Belcher here is a fucking noticer. And he's quote retweeting Representative Laura Talerski, another New Hampshire rep. Oh, from Nashua this time. Interesting. No conspiracy. Kelly Ayotte changed the name when she signed HB2 into law. And they have highlighted here, directs the Department of Health and Human Services to rename the Office of Health Equity as the Office of Health Access, and directs the office to comply with the hiring freeze in Executive Order 2025-02 for the biennium ending June 30th, 2027. So once again, just like Bridge is directed to do, they change the name, they continue doing the work, but with using less outwardly acknowledgeable terminology in order to keep pushing through the things that they need, like Mike said, commie bullshit. He continues, I'd sure love to know why a GOP rep, one known for saying really weird things, advanced an amendment to preserve diversity, equity, and inclusion, communism in the government, against Trump's executive order, by changing the name of this office to avoid scrutiny. And this thing he posted here says, Rep. Edwards Rock 31, amendment to HB2 FN, a local, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Health Access, name change, hiring freeze. The Department of Health and Human Services Office of Health Equity shall be renamed the Office of Health Access. The office shall remain in compliance with terms of Executive Order 2025-02 regarding executive branch hiring for the biennium ending June 30th, 2027, even if the executive order is lifted. Furthermore, the Office of Health Access shall serve every person with equal dignity and respect. The office shall not contract with or pay vendors who fail to serve every person with equal dignity and respect. The office and all vendors shall comply with RSA 354B, also known as the Civil Rights Act. I've read off the list that these lawyers have advised to people and companies trying to obfuscate the work that they are doing in order to continue doing it without being noticed. And it's infuriating that I've been talking about it for years and nobody else has been talking about it. Because obviously this shit is going to keep happening if people don't know what to expect. And Mike continues, here's even more information. The renaming was a compromise to save the office. Why did we compromise to give the Dems exactly what they wanted and preserve a Marxist entity within state government against Trump's executive order? This guy, Timothy Horrigan, that's fucking crazy to me to see a state representative have fucking parentheses on his name. What world have I walked into in New Hampshire politics? Division 3 of House Finance was responsible for renaming the Office of Health Equity. D3 Chair Jess Edwards sponsored the amendment. I introduced a floor amendment during HB2 debate to keep the name. It lost 116 to 248. The New Hampshire Dems leadership initially opposed my floor amendment, since, as you surmised, the Edwards amendment was a compromise designed to save the Office of Health Equity from total extinction. However, they ended up being amongst the 116 Democrats who voted for my amendment. You've been finding that red states are actually leading the way of implementing DEI. Most is being pushed by middle-of-the-road Republicans. You've had read several articles on it. Yep. Lots of rhinos, and there's been some very fishy articles that I've read, or very, very interesting articles I've read on fishy Republicans in New Hampshire. And then he said, and here we go. The Marxist left is now going to the mat to defend the Republican who inexplicably gave Dems exactly what they wanted and smeared the rest of us. I would really, really love to know what the contours of this deal to save an anti-American Marxist office in New Hampshire government looked like. And he posted an excerpt here that said, early this year, Rep. Mike Belcher, a Wakefield Republican, proposed legislation targeting what was then known as the Office of Health Equity, among other civil rights programs that Belcher and his band of Republican co-sponsored, labeled DEI and therefore evil. One of Belcher's sympathetic House colleagues, Representative Jess Edwards of Auburn, said he had the same initial reaction, but then learned that the State Department of Health and Human Services had merely chosen a regrettable name for the office. Nope. When commies play word games, they play them very, very deliberately. They play them very deliberately to make regular people think that what they're doing is good. And if you are against good thing, you are then bad person. Which is why they have to wrap up all of their communist bullshit in nice sounding initiatives and nice sounding names. Because it will fool the majority of people. And those who notice it will get called evil for opposing apparently good thing. This is just how it works. Be smarter. Edwards said that as it turns out, and much to his own amazement, the office was actually just trying to remove barriers to make sure we all have an equal access to care. You know, like equity, which is bad. It's never equal access. It's always cutting off someone else's legs. There was also the little detail, bewildered state officials said at the time, that the services provided by the Office of Health Equity, including for refugees and people with disabilities, are required under federal law. This is another thing I've noticed with Bridge before it actually hit mainstream, was they were trying to intertwine people with disabilities and giving disability access to things intrinsically with DEI. So it's like, oh, you're against DEI policies? That means you're against building wheelchair ramps for the disabled? What a disgusting person. When it's like, that has nothing to do with anything. That's not what they do. That's not what they're for. That's insanity. And we even read that fucking one article that was saying we need to meet at like an intersection of race and disability, that was essentially saying like being black is such a disadvantage that it is akin to having a disability, and this is why more equity access is needed. And it's like, brother, this is wild to read from the supposed anti-racists. What the fuck are you talking about? In a rare moment of conservative sanity, a compromise was eventually reached and the office was preserved, albeit under the less woke letterhead of Office of Health Access. Ah, yes. A rare moment of conservative sanity. The compromise to just give them what they want. Comrade, I am glad you have come to the correct decision. The situation is now normalized.
No, Comrade Premier. It has only begun.
And then he quote retweeted this and said, if you want to know why the left went apeshit when I tried to shutter the Office of Health Equity and why the media is in full attack mode now that it's back on the menu, read this. All that's left is finding out why a Republican stepped in to save the Dems by renaming the office to avoid my bill and Trump's EO. Well, it's either he's a rhino, not really a Republican. He's there to be, you know, the canary in the coal mine if any of their communist work programs start getting shuttered. Or he's actually just that retarded that he's fallen for the commie propaganda word games, and if he's that retarded, he has no business being in legislature. There's probably a third option there. Maybe he's just malicious. Maybe he took some kind of a bribe. Who knows? There will be a floor amendment coming. Contact your representatives and ask them to support it when it comes to a vote. I know I have a handful of you guys in New Hampshire. Obviously, I think it would be in everyone's best interest to vote for that amendment. Seems like controlled opposition to you. Yeah, maybe canary in the coal mine is not quite the thing I should say, but obviously, like, he's a controlled opposition kind of thing for, like, whenever their Marxist moves start failing, he's there as, like, a fail-safe to be like, I am the bipartisan willing to come together and compromise with you, my comrades. I had this tweet from Travis. He said, it's amazing to me that public school teachers routinely commit statutory rape and related crimes against children, and then are let off with a slap on the wrist, almost certainly because they're women. A year in prison, all suspended but 2 days. A joke. And color me shocked that Claremont, former Claremont teacher, is the one mentioned in this article. Holy shit! Claremont, the ones asking for more funding for their defunct, horrible spending. A former Claremont middle school teacher has pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of stalking in a case that involved a student at the school. Erin Mullen of Springfield, Vermont, was sentenced to 12 months in Sullivan County Jail with all but 2 days suspended. She was also ordered to have no contact with the child for a period of 2 years. That seems rather short. According to the Claremont District Court records dated November 7th, a second charge of having violated a protection order was dropped. Why? The case arose last winter after the student's mother alleged Mullen had an inappropriate relationship with her son, who was 14 at the time and enrolled at the middle school. I will never understand why people go for kids. Like, it cannot compute in my brain why you would do this. Despite the guilty plea on the stalking charge, Mullen denied in court documents that she had an inappropriate relationship with the child. Nathan Lynch, an attorney representing Mullen in her criminal case, said she is a very nice woman who had good intentions of helping a troubled youth. Helping the troubled youth by offering him fucking pussy? Like, what the fuck do you mean by this? What the fuck kind of defense could this possibly be? What the hell? What do you even say by that? What the fuck? Check that lawyer's hard drives immediately. What the fuck? That's wild. Unfortunately, a conflict emerged between her and the child's mother, and the mother made a good argument that my client's repeated contacts rose to the level of stalking, Lynch said on Tuesday, adding it was all done with the best of intentions of helping somebody. Mullen, 39, was dismissed from her job at the middle school in February after she was arrested and charged with violating a protective order to stay away from the student, which again is wild. What has this fucking lunatic just so enamored that she would fucking violate a restraining order? Helping them what? Yeah, exactly. Mullen was arrested on February 5th after police observed her attempting to make contact with the student at the Claremont Community Savings Bank Community Center, less than an hour after she had been served with a temporary civil anti-stalking order. She was released on $1,000 bail after spending 2 days in county jail, and became the subject of scorn on social media when news of her arrest spread in the community. I mean, good! She should be the subject of scorn! Mullen maintained that she had only sought to provide a safe haven for the student from an abusive home.
You're lying!
According to court motions, she prepared herself in the parallel civil action. If she was trying to provide a safe haven from an abusive home, why did she not tell other people about it? Why did she not get like child welfare services involved in any way? Why didn't she tell other people at the school? What about telling the administration? You know, like what is this? When the child's mother asked the court to block Mullen from contacting her child, she acknowledged that she had initially approved of Mullen helping to look after her son because she was working multiple jobs. That fucking sucks when you entrust someone to like watch your child and they turn out to be a fucking grotesque example of something non-human. The mother grew suspicious that something else might be going on when her son refused to come home after spending overnights at Mullen's house in Springfield. According to an affidavit in support of the mother's civil anti-stalking petition filed February 5th. When the mother sought the police's help for the return of her son, Mullen filed an ex parte guardianship petition seeking guardianship of the 14-year-old. Brother, what? I mean, again, if she had a paper trail of trying to contact other authorities in this case, it might make more sense, but this is so fucking crazy to me. Man, that's bold. Yeah, that's fucking bold. The mother wrote in her petition to block Mullen from contacting her son. The mother's petition in support of the anti-stalking order also stated that Mullen had been communicating with the juvenile via Snapchat. And there it fucking is. There it fucking is. There are so many people who've gotten upset with me for saying this before. If you have a Snapchat, you're fucking suspicious. There is nobody that I have read about or met personally that has a Snapchat or a WhatsApp who hasn't been outed as some absolute fucking degenerate piece of shit. Telegram's another good one. We have Telegram as a blocked term in chat for good reason. But like Snapchat and WhatsApp before Telegram was even a thing, those were the two fucking big ones. Mullen had been communicating with the juvenile via Snapchat, and that Claremont police are in possession of a 5-page handwritten letter in which she refers to the juvenile as babes. After the mother's civil anti-stalking petition was granted, Mullen filed her own motion seeking dismissal of the order. Mullen claimed that the student's mother's allegations were unfounded, hearsay, and false, and made in retaliation for seeking guardianship of the child, who had confided to Mullen about ongoing abuse at his home. The civil anti-stalking petition was granted February 5th, the same day it was filed by the mother. So why? Again, I'm glad that the town made her fucking just the picture of scorn, because again, that is what she deserves, but it's wild how leniently she had been treated. A kick streamer called Savrone was attacked by dealers in Japan when they realized he caught them on camera trying to sell heroin. You'll never guess what race the Japanese drug dealers are. I'm betting they're not Japanese!
You don't need to. Okay. It's getting dark out here. It's getting real dark. 5 points of heroin. No. Wow. 5 points of heroin. Heroin.
Bro, what is this? Are you crazy?
What? Bro! Bro!
I tell you,
Bro! You're going to jail, bro.
I kill you!
Okay. Bro, what the fuck? You just broke it.
They're not smart enough to understand it's not a recording and all of that was caught on camera. That's fucking wild. I kill you. Oh my god. This fucking guy, probably direct descendants of Yasuke, the first samurai. This fucking guy. Oh my god. Jake Lang, who was at the protest, said, "Please pray for me and my family during this dangerous time to be a Christian in America. A Muslim man in Dearborn had a gun and said he was going to kill me if the cops weren't looking."
I was gonna blast if I didn't see the cops. I swear to God. That's it. I don't care. To me, I don't care in my life. I don't give a f. Let somebody blast me. I don't give a f.
Just because of the burning of the Quran, the attempted burning.
I'll f that motherfucker's life up and his family. That's it. It's on camera. I will f that motherfucker's life up. Let him come to me face on face. Face to face, I'll kill him. I'm my mother's soul. So that's it.
You're killing him.
I'll kill him. Murder.
arrest him. Do your job.
Bro,
the fucking guy at the end. Yeah, I agree. They can say shit like this and get away with it. It's wild. It's wild. I think I need this guy at the end here as like a standalone clip to just post when fucking ridiculous shit happens. I'm gonna post this Can I get this as like a standalone thing? Because I'm gonna use this all the time. I'm gonna fucking use this all the time, man. Holy shit.